Yo guys, what is up and welcome back to a brand new video here today on the channel. Today, we are coming back to one of my favorite tiny little micro ponds to see if we can't get on some big summer bass here in the early morning. So let's get right into it. All right guys, so like I said, today we're coming back out to this here pond that you have seen me fish in a lot of my videos this year. And we've come out in the pretty early morning. It's probably around 8 o'clock, so not super early, but a lot earlier than I'm usually able to get out. We're gonna see if we can't find some of these aggressive summer bass. I've been having a lot of luck fishing up shallow around these grass lines, so that's where I'm gonna be targeting today. I got a swim bait, I got a little finesse bait tied on this rod, and without further ado, let's get right into fishing. See if we can't find some big ones up shallow. Let's get into it. That's a fish. He's got it. Got it. That's a decent fish, I think. That's a good fish, I think. Not terrible. Not terrible. Way out there. Get up here, buddy. Oh, this is not as big as I thought he was, but he absolutely cranked it. I casted way out in the middle, and that hook is just way down there. Not quite as big as I thought he was, but it's a good little chunky guy. Casted way out towards the middle with this little drag and drop worm, and my line was just running. I hadn't even moved it, just sitting out there. Good little fish. He's actually got a few other hook marks in the side. Not quite as big as I thought he... Oh, there's a giant right there. There's a giant right there. All right, guys, number one on the day. I just saw a giant come right up to my worm. I pitched back in there, was still holding this guy. He was massive, but he swam out towards the middle. Let's get this guy back. There he goes. Not a bad first fish of the day. I thought he was a little bit bigger by how he was fighting, but I'll take it. Number one on the whack earring, just walking around this pond. Right up in the middle in that grass. It's a little bit shallower right in this area. Cast it out towards the middle where there's a little bit more grass, and I hadn't even moved that bait, and he was on it. That's so sick. Absolutely cranked it. Let's get back in there. Oh, that's a fish. Something just took it for a second there. Wait, I'm on. No way, it was so small. I knew something took it for a second there. And I couldn't even tell he was still on there. Just a little small guy, again, kind of out towards the middle area. I felt a little bite, and he's barely hooked. I felt a little bite out there, and I couldn't even tell he was still on there. I was reeling in, thought it was just a little bit of grass. And then about halfway in, he started fighting. Nice little chunky guy. Let's get him back. All right, guys, number two. A little bit smaller, but he just ate it right out in the middle. I couldn't even tell he was on there because he wasn't fighting at all. I thought I had just gotten stuck in the grass. But then I reeled it in about halfway, and my line started pulling off to the right. I was just a little guy. I'll take it though. Number two. I'm not seeing very many fish up shallow, which is where I normally catch them in this pond. Oh, there's another fish. Another fish has got it. Oh, he was pulling it. My line was just running. But there's not as many fish up shallow as I normally see in this pond. And I've gotten there's another bite right there. I've gotten all of my bites and fish out in the middle. He's gonna eat it. I guarantee that fish just cranks it. Yep, he ate it. Got it. It was a little small guy. I called it. I knew he was gonna eat it. I saw him coming in out of the corner of my eye, just up along this reed line, kind of packed in with a few bluegill. And I knew he was just gonna crank it. Again, just a little small guy. That guy was way up shallow though, not towards the middle. Absolutely just cranked that bait. Again, on the little wacky rig. Definitely getting smaller, but still just cranked it. Decided to just take a cast where he was because I knew he was gonna eat that. Let's get him back. All right, guys, number three. Again, in this same kind of area, two out deep, and now one right up along this reed line, just swimming in with a few bluegill. I knew he was gonna crank that. There he goes. I'd cast it out, and I saw him coming up with a few bluegill, like I said, and he was just kind of sitting right on top of a little grass patch. Casted right to him, and he cranked it. Just see that? That bluegill went completely out of the water. Oh, there's a bass right there. He's gonna eat it. Yep, he ate it. He's got it. Got him. I saw a bluegill jump completely out of the water, and there's one following up. There's literally a bass that was just following him up. That was so sick. This is just a little small guy, but there were like 3 followers. I saw a bluegill bust out of the water, and then of course this bass was literally just mixed in with him. I'm just gonna take a pitch back in there, see if this guy would eat it, but that was so sick. All right, guys, what is that, number 4 on the day? Absolutely cranked it. There was a little school of them, and they're all kind of fighting over it. And as I caught that fish and was reeling it in, there were 2 or 3 of them that were following him in, like trying to take the bait out of his mouth. Oh yeah, a bass is following this in. I mean, it's a little decent little fish. I bet if I pitch in the wacky rig, he'll take it. He folded it up from out a little bit deeper where I couldn't quite see him, and he came up into a little bit shallower water, following up that baby bull shad swim bait. Fish just, he's gonna take it. Yep, he's got it, Got him, let's go. I saw that fish come over from like all the way underneath that this fallen tree right here. And there was a few of them that kind of followed him in, and this bait was just sitting on the bottom. I did not even move that bait. And he just absolutely cranked it. Right in the side of the mouth. My line started running. There's a few more right there too. He came out from under this little fallen tree, and he just cranked it. Let's get him back in the water. All right, guys, number 5 on the day. I'm just gonna toss him in kind of over to that side of the tree because there were quite a few more that kind of followed it in that are now kind of staged over in this area. There's a good little fish sitting under this tree. There's actually like 3 or 4 of them. One's got it. One just ate it. Got him. There we go. There was a school of them underneath this tree, and this dude just cranked it. A bluegill came up and was nipping at the end of it, and this dude kind of came up and kind of took it out of his mouth. Just cranked it. Oh my gosh. I cannot even hold him. He's a nice little chunky guy. Nothing too big, probably around 3/4 of a pound, but he was just sitting right under this tree. There was a little group of them, and there were a few bass mixed in with the bluegill, and this dude just cranked it. I let him eat it since he was kind of just eating the edge of the worm. Nice little chunky guy under this tree. It's number 6, and I see a bunch more, but let's get him back. All right, guys, decent little fish. Let's just drop him back in there. There he goes. He was just sitting right underneath this tree, and there was a little school of them. Of course, that dude just absolutely cranked it. Oh, yep. One just came up to it. One took it. He's got it. Got him. A little small guy. He absolutely killed it. I saw a slightly bigger one there too. And this guy just didn't even see him. He was right under where I casted, but he was kind of hiding up in the grass, and he just cranked it. Another little micro fish, but I mean, they're so aggressive. They definitely seem to be coming up shallow here as the day progresses, as it gets a little bit later, which is kind of weird because usually these fish, as it's a little bit cooler, are feeding up shallow, but this dude just cranked it right up in that grass. Let's get him back. All right, I think that's what, number 7 on the day. There are a bunch of bluegill beds right here, and on the outside edge of them, there's always going to be a few bass. There's a little grass edge as well, and this guy was just hiding right up in it. A little small guy, but he just cranked it. Took my worm too. There was a bunch kind of schooled up there, and when I cast it in, the few bass that I saw spooked away, and then that dude just came out of the grass and cranked it. Another good little fish. Let's get back in there.